Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Boys in Motion podcast. We're your hosts, Andrew, Brian, and Tyler, and we're here to break down some tips and tricks for what you need to excel in endurance sports. This is episode 21, and today we're diving into indoor cycling. If you ever wondered how to get started with your indoor cycling career, what equipment you need, or how to make the most of your training sessions, this is the episode for you. Tune in.
I'm hyped to dive into this week's topic. I'm an avid cyclist. Indoor cycling has grown in popularity, certainly among our friends and around the globe as well. It's a fun, convenient way to train on that bike year round and during the off season. So if you're training for a triathlon, if you're a big cyclist, or you're just looking for a fun weekly challenge with friends, indoor cycling can be a game changer.
Yeah, I just recently got into cycling and just last winter started doing indoor cycling. And I remember I was pretty hesitant at first. If you were tuned in last week, you heard my opinions of the treadmill. And I have to say that my opinions for indoor cycling were the same. But then once I got set up and I was using an app like MyWhoosh and joining a call with all of the BIM boys, I realized it is a different experience and it can be pretty engaging and efficient for getting that workout in.
Yeah, I totally agree. It can be more engaging and efficient. I think indoor cycling brings a different aspect to the sport because you can get some really, really good mileage in over the winter of strong, consistent training. Tyler, I think you were the one who kind of introed me to indoor cycling. How'd you get into it?
That's true. I think we started, both of us, with the mechanical trainer, and then we went on to the other stuff. But yeah, I guess I started too, just trying to get a bit stronger in the winter on the off season between triathlon seasons. So it was just, the cold weather started rolling around and didn't really find the need or want to ride outside because it was also cold and also dangerous in the Ottawa winters. So I got introduced by my friend Charlie indoor cycling, and it was just, I set it up in my room, the foot of the bed, just pedaling away, just hot and steamy, and it was just bib shorts on and pedal away with the iPad in front of you. It was really nice.
Yeah, so certainly protection from the environments is a big bonus during the winter months of indoor cycling, but there are a few other components that I think are important to highlight on why indoor cycling can be so beneficial to kind of round out your winter training. And really, it could be a year-round device if you really, really care about certain aspects of the sport. So firstly, for myself, it's those structured workouts that are available on the bike. You can go and you can set a smart trainer, and we'll dig into some of the equipment, but you can set a trainer on what they call erg mode. It can set your wattage, so your output, and kind of run you through that workout without really requiring you to be mindful of what you're doing. So it's a really easy way to get some really good structured training in easily, quickly, without too much friction around your life.
Yeah, another reason that I really like indoor cycling is the controlled environment that you're doing it in. Living in a big city, kind of one of my biggest gripes with cycling in general, especially in the summer when you can actually go outside, is that I need to bike pretty far or drive somewhere to get a good quality outdoor session in. So the nice controlled environment where either I can go into erg mode, and we'll get more into that, or like actual cycling where based on the gradients, it applies resistance. It's just much easier to get that workout in efficiently without having to go through all this hassle of biking on shared paths through people or drive out to a specific location.
Yeah, that's great points. I do agree with most of those, and it's just like the convenience is just, you can't really match it. Like I said, you could have it in your living room, in your bedroom, just hop on the trainer if you need a quick 30 minutes. From the second you get on the saddle to the second you get off, you're getting a workout in. So let's start it off with, what do we start with for setting up the trainer, your indoor cycling space? Brian, what are your must-haves, your go-tos for setting up that nice space?
Yeah, okay. So for the equipment that you either need an actual stationary bike. So yes, you could use a Peloton or some branded stationary bike like that, but really the key here is you either have a stationary bike or one of the bikes that are offered by one of the big cycling platforms. And most of the time, you're going to want something that can connect through Bluetooth to other devices. If you don't have a stationary, then the next best option is to actually have a bike, either your main bike, or some people actually buy a secondary bike for indoor training, and you connect that to a trainer. And so a trainer is something that either attaches kind of as your rear cassette or actually to your wheel and allows you to pedal. It provides resistance. Sometimes that resistance can actually be adjusted by software. And that's where we move into the two different kind of trainers. So there are smart trainers and dumb trainers. So smart trainers are what we all have now, which allows the connection to software to actually adjust the intensity and the friction that is being provided to your wheel so that you, based on the conditions in the software, will actually have a varied workout. So it's not just always one consistent like coefficient of friction on the dumb trainer. Now, a dumb trainer is generally not something that you plug in. It's just something that you attach to your back wheel and you can kind of roll on it. Then finally, there are rollers, which some people also use, where you're actually like free on your bike. And it's a series of three rollers, I believe, one at the front and then two at the back to kind of lock in your back wheel. That's a little bit more advanced and none of us use it. I don't really know too many people personally who have one. So I think we're going to steer clear of that for the episode.
Yeah, now so you've picked your trainer. So regardless of which trainer you like, we can maybe jump into some of the pros and cons a little bit later, but let's chat about some of those accessories that now that you have your trainer, and depending on which one you have, let's say you have the actual bike you ride on that trainer, which accessories will kind of help make your experience more comfortable and elevate that experience. I think one of the number one for me, and I discovered this because last season I did not have this, was a fan. And that, especially as you get less into the dead of winter or depending on the temperature of your room, training indoors, it gets super warm. You sweat way quicker because you don't have that nice breeze hitting you like you would outside. So having a nice strong fan close will make your experience much better, or else you'll just be sopping up the floors all over your house or apartment. So definitely don't skip on a good fan.
100%. This was the piece of gear that I was missing last year, and it's the only kind of piece of gear that I want to purchase going into this winter session is a fan because yeah, sweating in an apartment, and I might be moving my stationary setup into a basement without windows, so I won't be able to get that cold winter air in. So I think a fan, and then maybe even a dehumidifier to wick some of that moisture away. Tyler, I always see your bike with towels all over. So I think that is another key part of the setup. Am I right?
Oh, 100%. The towels are a must-have. I have one on the center tube there, usually sometimes along the cockpit, and then all over the floor, just swooping up all that nice sweat, the hard work. It's something that you don't see every day, but once you're on the trainer, even with the fan blowing, fan definitely helps, but you need those towels to get you through those tough workouts. And obviously with that comes a lot of hydration. Always have bottles on tap. Definitely one always beside me. I try to have like some sort of station either in front of me or beside me, like either a table or a ledge. I usually try to find something to put dip multiple water bottles or like water and then like electrolytes just on a ledge, easy access. That's what the benefit of indoor trainer is, the convenience of getting that hydration in quick and easy, and also some freaky amounts of food in you too. You could just literally have a dinner plate on you and just eat all those carbs you need, no matter what form.
Love it. And if people wanted to go all out, outside of, a nice 3-course meal. What are some other accessories that that people might want to look at?
I would
I know. Go ahead. My dog's barking, so go.
I would say if you're doing a smart trainer, having some sort of computer or TV setup is always nice. Some sort of setup, either a stand for either if you're doing through Apple TV, your laptop, or some sort of tablet, some sort of stand, so that's nice right in front of you, and then maybe even a secondary monitor for either you're having a nice call with some friends so you can see all of them suffering. If you're doing a solo ride, something that maybe you can put on, you know, some inspirational movie of Jan Frodeno at Kona. Just something nice to watch is always nice. And then the other thing that I would definitely say that is, I wouldn't even say this is a splurge. I'd say this is more in the mandatory category, is some sort of cycling mat. And whether that's like a thick yoga mat or a specific cycling mat, that really helps protect your floors. You're going to be doing a lot of sweating. So anything to protect those floors, and also if you live in an apartment like myself, that sound isolation from just trying to join in on those sprints is always good. Be considerate of your neighbors.
Oh, good news. I don't have any complaints yet on the noise department with the jet fan running in the middle of either in the middle of the night or really early morning. I've been pretty lucky, but that is very true. I also, in my place, the upper level carpeted, so that also helps with the sound masking. But those are all great tips and tricks. I also indulge in those inspirational videos now of Patrick as well.
Yeah, that's you're right. Like having some entertainment on the bike trainer is one of the nice pleasures about indoor cycling, is kind of that distraction. I've sat on the bike for 2 hours, watched a movie, or thrown on an F1 race and just bike through the whole thing. It's a perfect activity for that, and you're in that zone too, just moving. So yeah. Now, I touched on this briefly. There's two different types of bike trainers that people can look at: smart trainers and traditional trainers, or dumb trainers. Now, all three of us, I believe, have smart trainers, and that's generally been our recommendation to our friends. But there is a huge difference in price, and yeah, I think smart trainers also offer a lot more. What does that kind of trade-off look like?
Yeah, I think the biggest trade-off is, dumb trainers, it really is going to be a very simple resistance system where there might be a little switch. I had one for a very short period of time. I really didn't enjoy riding on it. So I actually ended up selling it and maybe a year later getting a smart trainer. So that is the big trade-off, is the simulation to real world riding is not there on a dumb trainer, where with a smart trainer, it's able to simulate those different grades on the road and make it feel a lot more like you're actually pushing on the road, which if you are training a lot indoors and if there's going to be a decent amount of time, I do think that extra investment is worth it. And that if you are up for a dumb trainer, eventually you're going to have the itch to upgrade. So if you're able to save up beforehand and just go directly to a smart trainer, even just a kind of the entry level smart trainer, I do think it's definitely very worthwhile from my own experience, having hated the dumb trainer when I got it.
I did quite a few miles on the dumb trainer, and myself as well. I needed to upgrade because it does just kind of get boring. You're kind of switched on to zone 2, and it's tough to get that intensity stuff, and then you also don't have the connection to interactive platforms very easily. You can kind of jig it up so that you do connect to the other systems, but it's not the same experience, and you're always at the same kind of cadence and resistance no matter the terrain. But there is a big difference in price. A smart trainer will generally cost you somewhere between $400 to $1,000, whereas a dumb trainer, you can pick one up for less than $200. So if that difference in price is something that really affects you, you can start training indoors on your bike for, even on Marketplace, sometimes as low as $80. So it's definitely accessible, the dumb trainer.
100%. I triple that. I did one winter. Actually, I stuck it out a whole winter on the dumb trainer, and let me tell you, I was pretty woozy by the end of it. But it makes you just enjoy that smart trainer and all its features that much more. But another thing too is the level of quality that you get out of the smart trainer also obviously goes up in price, just like everything else, just like your bike, just like everything. The bottom line, you have an on-wheel resistance where you could track up to, I think it's like mine is a 7% gradient on these platforms that they simulate, and then you could get up to, as real world as possible. Let's call it up to like 12 to 18% grade simulation with those higher end trainers. There's also, it's pretty crazy. It's getting more popular recently. They have a attachment for the front fork that could also simulate the elevation of your front bars, which is also pretty wonky. So if you're going up a steep incline, it'll increase the elevation on your handlebars, not only the resistance of the wheel, but also on your handlebars, which is kind of freaky.
Yeah, but what I find is really nice beyond the conversation of dumb and smart trainer is, you mentioned it, is these apps, these cycling apps. And for me, I think this is what really makes indoor cycling such a treat, is with technology, these apps like Zwift, MyWhoosh, there's many others, Trainer Road, these really allow you to go into the app, do structured training plans, ride with friends. They have series, and you can also ride with your different teams. So this winter, we will be riding. We use My Whoosh, and we will be riding as the Boys in Motion. So if anyone is on My Whoosh and either wants to join the team or challenge the team, the invite is there.
Yeah, and that's the huge thing. There's so much motivation to hop on the bike, either if it's through that like social connection, you find a time that works for you and a buddy and you hop on every week at that time, or a bigger group like ourselves. And there's also motivation through the gamification of these platforms. There's virtual races that are always available, group rides out the wazoo, and then even in any random ride, there will be challenges, segments that you can do as sprints, and all sorts of gamified elements, even down to like purchasing upgrades for your virtual character, and even kind of showing off to your friends that you might have got a new bike or some new glasses online, is just something else that makes it really, really helpful. So some of those popular platforms, like you said, My Whoosh for ourselves, Zwift, I think, is the top platform, but you do need to pay to use it, whereas My Whoosh is free. Zwift, I don't know how much it costs nowadays. It must be like 20 Canadian a month. Is that right?
I wish. That's a discount. I think it's up to 25 plus tax per month. So, and
Holy
I'm
moly.
on my Strava, I'm seeing more and more people just transition over to that free 99, baby. UAE, free 99.
Yeah, exactly. My Whoosh is nice, and it was all over Tadej Pogacar's bum, Tour de France. So
It's
it's not
better.
surprising. Yeah, it's not surprising. There's also Indie Velo, which actually just transitioned. It's under a new name. It's what Training Peaks Virtual now. So that's another recognized name. And then some of the apps for the respective smart trainers will actually have their own sort of platform or workout platform. Generally, they're not as immersive as the Zwifts and My Whooshes are.
And I got to give an honorable mention to Ruvi. That one's pretty freaky because they have real life scenery. So you could pick, you want to go do Paris-Roubaix. It's actually in like real life video of someone doing that route. So it's pretty cool to see. Or you go look at a climb in Spain and you actually see actual people riding it, and it's kind of like I'll compare it to like a Google Maps, a street view version of a ride. So that's also another option. But I do like the gamification of those. I got real hooked on Zwift, and then the boys transitioned me over to My Whoosh, and they're basically the same, just bigger platform, and I think with time that'll start changing over. So I'm very excited for this new season.
Me too.
And new Tune-Up Tuesdays every Tuesday.
Oh, I'm excited for the Tune-Up Tuesdays. Unlike you two, I don't do nearly as much indoor bike training, but I do look forward to Tune-Up Tuesdays, which is just a nice, short, generally kind of like a 20 to 30 minute race where it's kind of, we try to go pretty all out. We're all huffing and puffing at the end, dead. It's a great way to spend a Tuesday night. Last year, it was at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I think it's the same this year. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun little midweek challenge, join the boys in motion on the Tune Up Tuesdays.
Wait, those are races? I thought those were just Zone 2 rides.
Recovery. Well, I think we're going for
This
podiums.
guy's roasting us.
I think we're going for podium spots this year, boys, on the Tune Up Tuesday races. We'll be all kitted up and ready to go. I'm pretty excited.
We've definitely built some fitness over the summer, so we'll see how it translates to the indoor season. Now, one of the great things about indoor bike training is that it can be so much more structured. And hey, let's just call it as it is. We're hopping on these bikes to improve our fitness and to have fun, but fitness is a big thing about it. So, how does the bike trainer compare to riding outdoors, and what are some of the advantages when it actually comes to building fitness on the bike that the indoor trainer offers?
Yeah, Tyler had mentioned it earlier on, but I think one of the biggest ones for me is just the time efficiency of indoor cycling. It eliminates the need to do that small section of cycling that isn't ideal, where you're not doing a workout or driving to that location. You can jump right into that workout, saving time on the prep and travel. And also a big one is if you're cycling outside, when you come back, some cleanup of the bike, get all that dirt and debris off your bike, make sure there's nothing in your chain. You want to wipe that all off. There's a little bit of maintenance for indoor cycling, but it's extremely time efficient as far as maintenance and getting that work done.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things is just the easy peasiness of it. And literally, you could go on. I'll be some of these methods out this winter, but like you could go on while you're cooking dinner. You could be watching a movie with your partner and just hitting the road bike. It's gonna be real nice. This is a new definition to date night. Let me just tell you. You just got to turn up the TV a little louder, let's just say.
Date night with Ty is just him on the trainer huffing and puffing
Just
and juicy chilling.
That's it. Just chilling. Hey, you know what? It works.
Yeah, so another huge advantage is that you can be very structured with your approach when it comes to the indoor training, not only over the course of the season, but also in individual workouts. So we had kind of alluded to this before, but there's such a thing as erg mode on smart trainers, which will set your resistance to a certain wattage output, and it'll hold you there no matter what cadence you go on, and it'll self-adjust to that, and it'll go through all of the different pieces you might have in a workout. It makes it very, very handy so that you stay on track for what that workout is, and you can actually build custom workouts as well. So yes, there's like a lot of generic stuff, but you could build your own. And then at a more macro level, all of these apps also offer structured training plans. So, for example, if you had a race in 3 months, there are plans that are specifically designed to kind of build that base, build some speed, and then a taper down to that race. There's also beginner plans that can kind of be like a 4 week or an 8 week boot camp to get you used to training. And I think that's a huge advantage. It kind of puts a coach in your back pocket without needing to pay anything above what your app might cost, or like on my Whoosh, free 99.
Another big one for me that I really like about the indoor cycling and the apps is the simulated terrain and resistance that they give you. With these apps, you can simulate hills, descents, wind resistance, even within a peloton, the extra where you get that little symbol and then you get the benefits of being in the peloton. This is especially helpful if you are training for, let's say, a hillier race or hillier event, and your local area doesn't necessarily have those hills, or your hill training in your specific area, would you be going up one single hill, up and down, up and down, up and down, which just isn't super ideal. So this can really help you customize those workouts and the terrains you want to be riding on. I know I love watching the like Alpe du Zwift. They're like trying to go as fast as possible on Alpe du Zwift, and you just see people dying and trying to break like an hour is like a pretty good time for like a decently good cyclist. I always like watching those videos too.
Yeah, that is true. I always get roped in either watching some of that gameplay and then it makes me want to go on, or watching also live races, which is kind of like that whole new lens of streamer, right? It's like that virtual gaming, but also the person on the other side getting a massive workout too, which is kind of cool. And then you could see them, if you follow them, go up in the ranks. There's like rankings, and you obviously improve your indoor FTP and your own data too, which is kind of fun. But I really like watching those crazy indoor cyclists just going all out and trying to beat some of those cool time records and course records.
Yeah, the other thing I really like about all of these platforms is the amount of data that is kind of available in the heads-up display. Like now that I have a bike computer, I have that offered to me outdoor as well. But it is nice to have, your power output, your cadence, your heart rate, and your speed all at the like heads up, and you can kind of compare and see your friends and what they're pushing as well along the side of the heads up display as well. So it's nice because you have a constant data stream while you're in your workout or your activity. And then also when you finish your activity, you have that suite of data available to you on Strava and on the platform natively. So it allows you to kind of take a more data-driven approach to your training, optimize your performance, and really understand how hard you're pushing, how hard you could push yourself. In addition, a lot of these platforms also offer workouts that are essentially tests. So you can do an FTP ramp test, you can do high wattage tests, you can test all your like 1 minute, 5 minute, 20-minute wattage. So I think that's a huge advantage as well, is you can really, really track progress and test yourself frequently without too much friction or needing to be inside a lab.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really like that. Doing those tests as like what do you call it? A point where you go, hey, I'm at this fitness, beginning of, let's say, the end of the outdoor season, beginning of indoor season, you go, maybe every month or every 2 months, hey, this is me midwinter fitness, and then this is me when I'm getting off of the indoor training kind of season and back outdoors. You can kind of see your progression with those pre-set tests, like the classic ramp test or the FTP test. That reminds me, I'm going to have to get on that FTP test before I start training in the winter.
Yeah, I think maybe we can set up a day where we all do it together.
Oh, that would be nice.
I want to test my FTP. I like the ramp test. It's intense, it's super hard, pushes you to the limit, but it's done quick. And my goal this year is to try to see if I can push that FTP over 300. So we will see.
That's wild.
I don't know where I am right now. I don't think I'm there just based off some of the numbers I'm pushing out in outdoor, but who knows? We'll see once I get on the trainer.
You're going to be freaked right out.
I guess this brings up a good question. When are the road bikes going on to the indoor trainers, or have they already?
Oh, you know that answer. I was indoor training midway through my season because I was a little crybaby in September with the wind and the rain we were having. I was just like, I guess it's drives our point even further, is that like it's just convenient. I was actually doing it, believe it or not. I didn't want to get hurt before my big race. So big rainy days, big windy days, I still needed to get that 4-hour bike ride in. So I would do some indoor riding instead. So I already got a bike up there.
Yeah, and for myself, I still have the bike set up for outdoor. I think myself and the Niagara boys, we have one 100K that we want to do. And then I think I might put the bike back indoors, and that's coming up this weekend. I have a part coming from AliExpress to kind of take off my current cassette so I can clean it, the one that's on the Smart Trainer. And then once I do that, I'm going to be winter ready, and it won't come off the trainer most likely.
Love it. Yeah, those with a keen eye that are watching, if you can see behind me, my road bike is no longer up there, so it's not on the trainer yet, but it's being prepped for the trainer. Got to give the chain
in progress
a fresh waxing, and then it'll be on the trainer.
I got to give my legs a fresh waxing, then I'll be on the trainer.
Yeah, that fan you have set up, it's taking off too much watt. So I think that kind of wraps up all the benefits that we see in indoor training. It's something that's fun. It's something that is smart to do given the right equipment and the right goals. And it definitely can help improve and boost your fitness gains over the colder, darker winter months.
I'm so excited. I'm ready to rumble. I think we should circulate ideas too soon for some cool winter ideas for, let's say, challenges on the indoor trainer, like, like a super endurance ride on a Saturday where we're doing nothing on a snowy Saturday, or a nice, obviously the tune-up Tuesdays, and like you were saying, maybe some monthly check-ins on some ramp tests all together on the BIM chat, just huffing and puffing in the mic, just dying all together. It's just another feeling.
That would be a chaotic call to be on. I don't know if that would actually be performance driving or performance impeding, quite honestly.
Imagine just sharing the audio, no context, just ramp test audio.
True. Well, that is a good point. It will be interesting to see if we can figure out some ways to get some content out of the indoor training season. We're already circulating maybe some live stream of Tune-Up Tuesday or some other opportunities to kind of share the fun that we have on the trainers. So transitioning away from trainer talk, well, maybe this hot take is about trainers. We'll see. But Andrew, give us a shout. What's your hot take of the week?
Oh, I've got a hot take, and I don't think either of you will agree with this. But indoor cycling on the trainer, on a nice smart trainer with these apps, if it weren't for the BIM bike ride, I don't think my road bike would ever come off the trainer. I think it would live on the trainer, and I would never cycle outdoors other than commuting. That is my hot take.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the city struggle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Cycling in the
and a one-trick pony.
Cycling in the city is just like the effort required to do it is just not worth it for me. And it's just like not super enjoyable.
No, I agree. And like, I don't know if it's just me, but nowadays cars are getting worse and worse. They're encroaching more and more. And all the hate that bike lanes are getting, it's a dangerous world for cyclists out there. And I don't blame you for that hot take. I know for like Tyler in Ottawa, Gatineau Park is right at the doorstep of the city, and then you've got uninterrupted roadways. It's perfect for 6 to 8 months of the year. It's where you need to be. And if you're in the country, similar to where I am, now I've got a good enough bearing of where I can go uninterrupted by cars and unimpeded by cars. And I think that is really the hot take: is cars are the enemy of the cyclist, because without them, I think that hot take might reverse.
That is true. The city man does have the struggle, but those e-bikes are really nice. Just pop them on, pop them off. No sweat.
That's the true hot take. Because another reason why I have this hot take, it's not just the cars, it's the like extra maintenance piece that cycling has. That is just like an extra thing to think about. Making sure it's all tuned up so that I know I'm going to be safe on my bike. So like, it's just that extra element. But with bike share, those e-bikes, I ride it, put it in the dock. That's a city worker's problem now. See you later. Because I had quite the clunker going to the Waterfront Marathon. I'll tell you that needed some good maintenance.
You had the nice clunker, that's for sure. What are the odds you picked the one that's Brian? Every pedal stroke is just going. It was really nice.
I'm glad you didn't get injured on that e-bike down to the start line of the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. Holy!
Yeah, it freaked me right out. I'll tell you that, but it was nice.
So we were talking. So you talk about maintenance. What maintenance do you still need to do on an indoor trainer? Like, I guess you definitely still need to like wax or oil your chain. Probably not as often, and wipe it down. I also heard that because you sweat so much indoors, sometimes you want to like take off your bar tape and clean your handlebars, because you can get a lot of salt from all of your salty sweat into the bike and into its components. So I guess that's another risk. I'm not sure if there's anything else you really need to worry about.
No, I think that's pretty much it. And I think that's another, like I always put, like Tyler, I put towels on my bike so that there's like a layer so that at least I'm like sweating right onto those towels, as opposed to like on my bike always, especially like the head of where the handlebars connect. I like to at least cover that so it's not like seeping in. But I have seen the bike hammocks. Have you guys used those or seen them? It's like the bike hammock that goes on top that's waterproof, so that it actually like fully protects it from corrosion from the sweat.
Oh yeah, the nice bike hammock is just a glorified towel. It's real nice.
But it's like waterproof, right? Like it's not. Yeah. It's basically like a tarp, but like specifically designed that it like hooks on.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, it just holds. It just feels like it just kissing the top of the bike and just holding on to all that sweat.
Oh, that's interesting. I see it here now. I didn't see, I've never seen that before, but it does make sense. A little protection for that top tube and the head.
It's kind of cute. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of things that you can purchase for the winter, for outdoor running and actually outdoor cycling, I just picked up a Nox Gear vest, which is like a light vest for nighttime running and all of that. I think I'll have a gear review in a few weeks. I got one for myself and I got one for my partner, and they weren't cheap, but running in the countryside, I think it's something that I need. So I went and picked two up, and I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Is this
The high vis.
it's reflective or it's also for heat?
No, it's a like a LED light reflective, well, not reflective vest, but it's like just kind of the wiring. I got the Tracer 2 performance visibility vest. And it looks pretty nice, and it's supposed to be able to be seen 360 no matter which way a car's coming at you for up to a quarter mile away.
That's too much visibility for me. Despite our challenge last week, that's simply too much visibility. I'm only a 180-degree guy. 360 is way too much.
You only got to know where you're going. You're running so fast that cars won't catch you.
Very true. That's a good point.
This does look nice. I've definitely seen people on the roads with these. Does it also it flashes the lights? Or not sure?
I'm not sure if it flashes entirely, but it's got kind of those light strings around and then a big unit in the back. And for me, like long, dark country roads, now that it'll start getting dark at like 5 o'clock here, so pretty much every run is going to be in the dark. It's something that I felt like I needed.
Love it. Excited to hear the review. Might need to scoop one depending on what you say about it, or at least scoop something high vis, so that I can give you guys my check-in.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Sure.
I gotta start putting my stuff in the laundry.
That's going to be a harder habit to break.
I see here they have a light hound. Now that's interesting. Gizmo the runner might need a light hound. That is a.
It's true. They do make the high vis Nox Gear stuff for dogs as well.
That's
very
nice.
Cute.
That is nice.
So I know right now we're kind of in a training lull, but when do you guys think you're going to kick it into another training block? Because I will say myself personally, I feel like I'm getting a little lazy. Like I'm going a few days a week, not having a workout in the calendar. And because I don't have a training plan right now, it's just like very relaxed. And yeah, I feel kind of like I'm not moving the legs enough.
I was afraid you were going to ask that question. I'm feeling way too good with nothing on the mind. It's just like, I got nothing. But then at the same time, I'm stressed. I'm like, I should be working out right now. I should be doing something, improving myself, and getting after it. But it's like 2 days, 3 days off, 1 day on, easy. You're just going through the motions. It is kind of freaky. But I guess, fortunately, I've got a plan starting in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So I got a 8-month build up to Ironman Ottawa. So we're starting on November 3rd.
You have an 8-month block for Ironman Ottawa? Why is it so long?
I'm trying to be Christian and just blow up on the bike again. So I have to train for that.
That is wild. Please tell me that in this block you have prescribed like multi-day off and it's not just continuous building. Do you have some like lulls in that plan as well if it's that long?
It's actually, surprisingly, this is actually going to be more scheduled and actually programmed by with coaching and some help. So by the community. So it's going to be good. We're having a 8-month prep with some actual direction on not to blow up. So I'm thinking it'll probably be like a 2 to 3 months just aerobic build to just keep building, very low intensity, just keeping the base up, and then probably starting in the new year, start ramping up on some heavier mileage and ramp up and down like the usual. Not a constant boop, 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 boop. It'll be some lulls in there, but technically I will be starting next week on consistent training, let's say.
That's very good. Yeah, I think I'm going to be doing some base building and starting next week as well. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start kind of this week, start slowly ramping back, just base, nothing crazy. Gonna start, I think, marathon training middle of December, end of December for an unknown race. That's kind of the next thing on my mind is I need to pick a race. It will be something local for the spring. I'm going between Toronto, Mississauga, and Buffalo, I think, but it's to get that in the calendar and like decide which one I want to do based on a few different things. So,
Well, geez, if you guys are looking for an event to train for this winter, I encourage you to check out Around the Bay. We've got up, I think, almost 10 BIM athletes who are running around the bay. So there's going to be a big contingent out, and we'd love to have you. Some people who have never run more than a 10K are putting up the challenge to complete a 30K run. It should be fun, and it's kind of perfect timing if you've got a marathon early spring. This race is March 30th in Hamilton, so something to check out.
I just don't understand 30Ks. Like, it's right at that bonk territory. How are you supposed to bonk if you finish the race before the bonk? That's what I can't wrap my head around.
you get right to the good part and then it just ends. What's with that?
Exactly. It's like eating. It's like not eating dessert. Doesn't make sense.
I think this is the best challenge for people who maybe a half is something that they know they can do, but maybe a marathon is a little bit too much to commit to. So it's a good stepping stone, I think. Because really, if you can run a 5K, you can run a 10K. And if you can run a 10K, you can run a
You can run a
half.
30.
And once you can run a half, you can run a marathon.
So might as well run a
I,
30 and not bonk.
exactly. No, I kept seeing that like if you can run a 5K and just like double, 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 double until you run a marathon online, there's a ton of memes of that.
You gotta send that to the non-believers. That's what you gotta do. Get them roped into the full marathon.
I think before we wrap it up for the day, speaking of the aggressively ramping, there is a couple BIM boys that have entered the Berlin Marathon lottery that I just want to give a special shout out to. Nick, who ran the half marathon with us, has entered the Berlin Marathon lottery after, love it, love the beer. After doing his half, he's got the bug. But here's the big but. He also convinced fellow BIM boy Chris, who has just done a 5K race, to register for the Berlin Marathon lottery, and also Dan, who also has done like 5 to 10K. So if they can quadruple down, so can you. That's what I'm going to leave you on this one.
Speechless. I love it.
That absolutely speechless. That's super cool. I hope somebody gets picked and is roped into doing it because
Oh,
I
Maj.
mean you'll be at the start line, so it's only fair that somebody else has to run it with you.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait. I hope someone gets roped in, and I hope that's not me.
Have you, before we wrap up, the final note before the wrap up? Did you apply? I hear you were applying as well as a team.
Oh, 100%. I applied, but
Love to hear it.
I'm hoping to dodge that entry.
I don't know. Maybe next week I'll have some news that I registered for the lottery, but that seems like a stretch. But
No,
hey,
I mean I
marathon
am kind of fired up.
So the inside
I
scoop,
am
Brian,
kind of fired.
is if you apply as a team of 3, your odds. So if any one of the 3 gets picked, the whole group is in for the Berlin Marathon. So
Better odds.
if you find 2 other BIM,
Baddies.
I don't know another word, but you triple your chances.
You're auto in, Andrew, to the Berlin Marathon?
I'm auto in, so I am in.
Okay.
So I can't join your team.
And then they have a 3-person team?
I think there might be 3-person teams that have joined from this nonsense.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a lot
can
of
confirm.
nonsense then.
Oh yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Boys in Motion podcast.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and join our Strava Club to keep up with all the great content. You can subscribe to our podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever else you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode.
And just the weekly reminder that we are not medical professionals, and the advice and tips that we share in this episode are just from our experience and research. and always consult with a healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your exercise routine.
And don't forget, keep moving and grooving. Stay motivated even in those off seasons, and consider joining us on the next Tune Up Tuesday to witness the fitness. We'll see you guys next time on The Boys in Motion.